because it's 5 o'clock.
I think Mary has to open it to the public, right?
Yeah, somebody does.
Oh. Do we go Facebook Live?
I'll talk right here.
There we go.
Guys hear me?
We're on channel 21.
Hear me? And I tested these out earlier today.
Coming through fairly loud, but
When the yellow box goes to you, we should be able to hear you.
Can you hear me?
yeah, I think you're picking up on mic and your headset.
Yeah, I got a problem with that too. I've got both the mic and the headset.
Try to talk again, Mary.
Hey, Thomas is trying to help me out. We're 5 o'clock though. You can start.
Well, good evening. Thank you very much. This is the Parks, Recreation, Human Services, Public Safety Committee meeting on February the 9th, 2021 at 5 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order, and all members are present. That is Councilmember Greg Baruso, Councilmember Lydia Cephadawson, and joining us is Deputy President Susan Honda. So moving forward, we have a very, very short agenda today. John, or do we have any public comment?
We do not.
No? Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order and ask, as there's no public comment, the first item on the committee business is the approval of the January 12th, 2021 minutes. Are there any questions, Council?
Nope.
No questions, no changes.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilmember Greg Baruso with Councilmember Cephadawson seconding. All in favor of the public approval of the minutes for the January 12th, 2021?
Aye.
Please say
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. Okay, first item on the agenda is the Elevator Services Contract Award. Jason Gerwin.
Yes, thank you, Council Committee. And the policy question that I have before you tonight is, should the City Council award the maintenance contract for elevator services with LTEC and authorize the mayor to execute said agreement?
Okay.
I did provide a staff memo and would be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Jason, could you just go over the amount of the, it looks like a 5-year contract, but can you just go over the amount of the contract?
Yeah, and so it is a 5-year contract in the amount of $87,560 that includes not only the full maintenance contract, but it also includes some money in there for repairs or upgrades if they're needed. We program that money in.
Okay. And so this is going to be a approved budget. We're going to approve the budget for this a total amount of $87,560.
Well, you're not approving the budget. You're approving.
Recommending approval. Yeah, sorry, said that wrong. Okay, Council, any questions?
I had one. Chair Coach.
Councilmember, sure, go ahead.
Jason, I see the repairs and upgrades for $52,000. Could you tell me what that includes?
Well, there are no repairs or that included in there, other than I have one thing in mind that I'm considering, and so we have our elevator's old and no longer is being manufactured, and so there's a control board in there. Our previous elevator contractor was ThyssenKrupp. We had worked with ThyssenKrupp for over a year and a half, trying to talk with them about elevator upgrades and modernization, as well as extending into a new contract. And this goes back to the Steve Eichert era before I took on the responsibilities. Him and I worked with them together. And ThyssenKrupp was really unwilling to kind of work with us. A couple of years ago, council had provided $85,000 to provide some modernization and provide some upgrades to the elevator. And we were never able to get ThyssenKrupp to kind of meet us in the middle. They're kind of they're a one sale operation, and they'll give you a proposal. And their initial proposal was about $155,000, which was just out of line. And they were wanting to do a lot of upgrades and things that weren't really necessary. And so that's what led us down the road to try to find another provider. And so one of the big reasons we have selected LTEC is where there's a control board, basically a motherboard like you would have in a computer, that handles the controls. And this company has a vendor that has those boards for sale as a kind of a swap. You send them your old board, you get a new board, or you can buy a new board outright for them. That is the only item of concern with our elevator. Otherwise, it inspects out really well. But we have had one incident where some people got stuck in the elevator and didn't, we don't like that, don't want to, and it was a control issue. And so, my goal is to get one of these circuit boards on the shelf here at City Hall. That way, if we ever have a problem, we've got the board. All we have to do is to have the tech out to replace it. There have been some other things considered, and we don't know if something's going to break in the term of this 5 years. And so we wanted to have a little money programmed in for some of those miscellaneous repairs and items that may need to be attended to. But the only repair I am considering when we enter that contract is having a spare control board for that unit.
Okay. All right, Kay. Thank you, Jason.
Good question. Thank you, Councilmember Baruso. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, do I hear a motion? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I just had.
Sorry.
Thank you. So when because of the age of the elevators, how would you you don't replace an elevator when it gets old, right? You just replace the motherboard. Is that what you do?
No. So there's several components to the elevator. There's the electrical controls, there's the hydraulic pumps and motors, and all of those hydraulic pumps and motors are in good shape. Parts are ready, available. So it's not to say something can't break on our elevator. They can, but they're very standard mechanical parts in the industry. The one part that is difficult for us is that control board. Now, you also have the option of you can completely change out your control system, but that's going to be, I'm going to estimate here, it's going to be 3 to 10 times the amount of money versus just replacing one of the boards in the unit. And so that's my recommendation and the thoughts, and even LTEC's recommendation on that.
Okay, just wondering. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I missed your hand there, Councilmember, Deputy President. Okay, and no other questions? Seeing none, may I hear a motion to move this agreement? Go ahead.
I
Go ahead,
move to forward the proposed agreement to the February 16, 2021 Council agenda for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and forwarded. I moved and seconded to forward the proposed agreement to the February 16th Council agenda for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Please say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you, Jason. Let's see who's.
I think I've run the agenda tonight. I'm pretty much all
do.
the staff reports, so it's just a small intimate group here tonight.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so now the next item on the agenda is the 2021 Parks and Recs Commission Work Program Plan. Thank you, Jason.
Yes, and so the policy question I have before you here is, should the council approve the 2021 Parks and Recreation Commission Work Plan? And you were provided a copy of that work plan, and in my mind, it's a little light compared to normal years, but we're not in normal times right now, and that's why it's not a normal work plan. Annual kind of the volunteer events, and it's going to be whether or not we can get past COVID and bring big groups together on those. Annual playground equipment placement, that's something we do every year, although there is a little debate this year whether or not in the 21-22 budget. In years past, we've always gotten a reallocation to that playground account. And so the playground account covers two things. It covers not only replacement of playgrounds, but it also covers major maintenance and repairs on items. People like to do naughty things and vandalize the playgrounds, unfortunately. And new slides and stuff like that don't come cheap. And so we are going to do a round of park tours with the playground tours with the Parks Commission as we planned. We haven't decided how we're going to get there via COVID, but that's the debate whether or not we would take one on, because if it's usually in the range of 100 to 150 on some of these playgrounds. I mean, if you get into when we need to replace Celebration, we could be 300 to 500,000 to replace that playground. But that's about what we have in our CIP account right now. It's about just shy of 200,000. And so if we were to expend that on a new playground this year, we may not have money for repairs. So that's just something the commission's working through and trying to figure out. And then we are working on a prioritization matrix because we have some levy money from King County levy. And so they're developing that to help staff prioritize, what projects should come next or what should we use. What project should we use that money to fund? And then the other ones are, we need to master plan several parks, and it's been on their agenda for years. It's just we don't have funding available to do any of those studies currently. And then we'll provide them updates. Staff in Public Works and Parks are working with a consultant on the new maintenance and operations shop. So a little light this year, but we're still meeting, try to get through it and stay productive.
Thank you very much. So, Jason, Council, are there any questions of Jason? Deputy President? None? I'm wondering, all you need us to do with this is to move the proposed a commission work plan forward. Is that it?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Hi. I see we're joined by Councilmember Martin Moore. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Chair Coachmore.
Okay.
I move to forward the proposed 2021 Parks and Recreation Commission work plan to the February 16th, 2021 full council consent for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. It's been moved and forwarded to moved and seconded to forward the proposed commission work plan to the next council meeting for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jason, before you disappear, or John, I noticed on the second page of the meeting agenda, there's a word called energy discussion. Is that what we were working on with Sarah Bridgeford on?
No, this was a suggestion that came from Councilmember Baruso and also Councilmember Moore to talk about kind of where we were on what we've done over the past, say, decade or so to get us where we're at today, which is much more efficient than we've ever been. And Jason will be just kind of giving a, pardon me, a brief overview of the efforts that we've made.
You're not getting ready that easy, Linda.
Okay, we're good.
And so, I'm happy if there's specific questions when it comes to energy efficiency. But, what I just did when I saw that on the agenda, I thought I better just get my bullet points and highlight kind of some of the major things we've done over the past decade to address energy efficiency. It was really efforts started back in 2010. And in my mind, we do have some areas where we can make some efficiencies, but for the most part, we kind of got that low-hanging fruit and all the easy stuff that you can do that's low cost or those sorts of things. And so I'll kind of explain what some of those are. But one of the big ones that we did, and it started in 2010, is we reached out and we got an Aura grant, and we replaced the two 80-ton rooftop units on top of City Hall. And so that provided major energy savings for us, those old ones, as well as Council has approved a maintenance contract with Mac Miller. That's going to be coming up next year. I need your support on that again, because we don't have the internal staff to either knowledge or number of people to maintain the HVAC as it needs to be. So that Mac Miller contract is huge. But generally, we've gone through and put in occupancy sensors anywhere where they can go. If there's an exterior door and a door sweep that we can, eliminate drafts or the cool air coming in. In the council chambers, we used to have kind of this old efficient, basically they were like nightlight bulbs and providing that ambient lighting, and we've brought in rope light. Anywhere where we have had the potential to bring in new LED fixtures or lights, we have. I can say the one spot in City Hall and most facilities that we have not addressed is kind of your overhead lighting that, I'm drawing a blank right now, fluorescent lighting tubes. And we have looked into, they are making retrofit LED tubes, but a lot of those require that you change out the ballast. And so maybe not quite as efficient, or it becomes a pretty large project. I have not counted our light fixtures in City Hall, but I would venture to guess there's got to be close to 2,000 fluorescent light fixtures in that. And so one thing that we did do in City Hall and other facilities is there are 3 fluorescent tubes in each of those fixtures. We removed one of the tubes. That takes out 32 watts of electricity per fixture. And so we saw energy savings from that. A big thing was back in 2010 when we started these initiatives, we couldn't afford as a city to have our own kind of RCM manager or resource conservation manager. And so we partnered with Auburn. And for several years, we had a gentleman here that worked for both cities and helped us track that. But, it does take a significant amount of work to make these energy efficiencies, both from if you're going for grants, you need to apply for them. A lot of times you have to have matching funds, those sorts of things. And so I'll continue to kind of go on. I've got numerous places where it's LED bulbs or replacing fixtures, both interior and exterior, occupancy sensors, as I said, photo cells, and we've installed timers like, the art hallway in City Hall used to just stay on 24/7. Well, now it's on a timer, so it's only kind of going during business days. HVAC used to kind of run all the time. We did put in an air handler downstairs to better control the police department, but at 6:30 our HVAC goes off here, and so we don't come back on until 5:30 the next morning. So those were huge efficiencies, and that was all part of that ORA grant. Community center, I forgot to mention water. In regards to water conservation at City Hall, we have changed the aerator, so the water comes out a little bit slower. Took about a week before people stop noticing, because it does. It's a little bit of an impact at first when you're washing your hands. It doesn't come out as fast or as hard, but you save water there. Again, community centers, a lot like City Hall, LED conversions. They worked with some efficiencies. They are also on the Mac Miller contract, both City Hall and the community center, and so programming that using the outside air and the economizer to just make less stress on those big units, providing us energy savings. Timers and sensors. At Community Center and Dumas Bay Center, they both have vending areas, and so there's a controller that you can put on there. It's called the Vendmizer, which, if it doesn't have motion in a while, it shuts those lights off, keeps the temperature cool in the vending machine, but eliminates some of that. Weather stripping. The Community Center had a lot of just voids from the outside that were plugged and taken care of. That was several years ago. We have done some things on the VAVs and the controls at the community center. We worked with the Splash Cafe and we had improved some efficiencies and changed some of the electrical in there to make it more convenient and work out. Dumas Bay has had quite a bit of improvements. Again, all the LED bulbs, exterior and fixtures that we could change, we've put in occupancy sensors everywhere we could. They delamped several of their fluorescent fixtures in there. They installed motion sensors kind of in the hallways, all of those common areas that used to stay on 24/7s. That way it takes motion, they'll come on for about 10 minutes until the motion stops. Dumas Bay Center, the Steel Lake Shop, they used to have what's referred to as a T12 fixture, which is a big long fluorescent light bulb, and used to be the standard, but very inefficient. And so anything that was a T12 or a T8 fixture, and that just T8 or T12 is just the length of your fluorescent tube. Anything that was higher than a T8 was changed out to a T5, and so you can get the same amount of lumens produced, providing the light that those other fixtures had. They've come along that way. At Dumas Bay Center, the same thing with the vending machines. We added mini splits to the meeting rooms at Dumas Bay Center, which was a huge help and definitely improved comfort there. Wall packs. A lot of it had to do with lighting and HVAC were the big ones, and that's kind of that low-hanging fruit. Sealing up. Dumas Bay had a lot of penetrations and door sweeps and drafty areas, and we've been through all of that. One place that at Dumas that is an opportunity, but it would be a high dollar thing, is that whole building operates on an old boiler system, and it's incredibly inefficient. But if you were going to invest in a boiler system for Dumas Bay Center, I think you have to, as leaders of this organization, we have to ask ourselves: is that the right investment to make, or do you really need to be investing that money differently? And what that is, I've got ideas, but probably not the right forum for those. Dumas Bay had all old incandescent exit signs, and so we replaced those with LED. We did that at the maintenance shop as well. We literally went through, and the windows are so old there that we caulked. If you've ever looked at the front of Dumas Bay, it looks like just solid windows across the front, but we recaulked all those windows. I mean, we don't have the money to replace those windows, which would really be the best option, but it would just be too costly. So, but we did take the time and caulk those. And so the shop is a lot of the same. School sites, we did the sensors as well. We did photo cells and timers, and I think that's probably in regards to parks and facilities, your biggest opportunity for energy efficiency or savings right now would be looking at sports field lighting and replacing the old incandescent metal halide high pressure sodium lights with LED. But again, you're not talking small dollars, it's big dollars, and we'd really have to look at what our return on investment would be and what that payback period would be. There are some other things that are good opportunities out there. I know council has heard that at some point we're going to have to replace this roof, and every year that's getting closer and closer to reality. We're trying to spread the tar up there every summer and patch those spots, but we're real close to needing to do that. And so if we replace the roof on this building, do you look at adding solar panels? And it's a good opportunity where you've got a decent amount of square footage of roof up there that you might be able to offset your costs and have a pretty good return on investment. I mean, I think for the community center, that's another factor. And so anything, I believe, if you've got ideas or you think there's low-hanging fruit that we can do with our current staffing levels and a little bit of extra funding to take care of, I'd definitely be open to those. But from my perspective, it really seems like we're kind of at that crossroads where we're going to have to make an investment, reach out for grants, and a lot of those grants need matches, and it's just which bite of the apple are we going to take, because there are lots of places that need attention and need love, and we've deferred maintenance for a long time. And so, to me, I always say I'm all for being efficient. I want to strive for efficiency, but first we got to be effective before we can then strive to be efficient with that effectiveness. And so, again, we've Steel Lake Maintenance Shop. It's really old. It was our first city hall, but yet we're still operating out of that building, and Dumas Bay Center is another one. So, I think there's an opportunity, and our constituents, may be interested in supporting us. It's just we have to make them understand that they're investing in their community by, trying to find ways to support opportunities.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I see that Councilmember Martin Moore has a question.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Coach Moore. I appreciate that. And it's good to see you. So glad that you're doing well and that you're with us. That's fantastic news. So, Jason, thank you for your report so far. Really appreciate it. And John, thank you so much as well. Councilmember Bruce and I were just kind of talking a little bit about, just kind of wanting the big picture of, as a city, how are we doing environmentally? And I think it's really good to kind of hear what the Parks Department is doing and everything like that. And I'd love to get a report of that so I can become more knowledgeable and I can have the information at my fingertips. Jason, it would be kind of good to have that because clearly there's a lot of intricate little things that you guys are doing. And that's fantastic. And I think, my objective is this, and we're slowly hearing the mayor talking more about this as well. And from a holistic citywide perspective. And, my objective is where can we go and what do we have? And then where do we go? And what is it going to cost? Because it's naturally going to cost us money to achieve our goals. And, thanks to Councilor Coach Moore's leadership, with our new state lobbyists, I'm confident that there's ample funding there for opportunities so that we can continue to walk towards a more, if you will, greener city. So I think it's good to get a report from what the parks are doing. And certainly I'd be really curious, just as a citywide, how are we doing type of thing. So I appreciate the report and just wanted to kind of get you more of a background as to why did this appear on the agenda. It's thank you.
Okay.
I can take first quick whack just to kind of get you a brief overview. The PAC is a brand new building, super efficient from a standpoint of being brand new technology across the board. Community center is our next newest, and it's in, as Jason mentioned in his report, we've done pretty much what we can there, short of probably solar. If we were to do solar in the future, but again, these are large investments that take large matches, even if you were to get a grant. And remember, we used to have a park planner who's at least 50% of we had actually two park planners, at least 50% of their job duties were writing grants and running projects to ground. That's all gone now. Has been gone for over a decade. And so, we're very short on people. This building is older, but we've done a lot. We've addressed a lot in this building. And of course, then you've got Dumas Bay. Of the four major facilities, Dumas Bay is old, but we've made tremendous inroads, as Jason mentioned. In addition to all the things that he mentioned down there, we also put in very high efficiency mini splits to make it a more comfortable environment, but also be pretty energy efficient. So we've done a lot over these 10 years, considering we have two people in facilities, and we were able to do a lot with that grant funded person that we had, but that person's been gone for over 7 years. His name was Deke Jones. Some of you may remember him. He did some good work, but and a lot of the efficiencies that Jason mentioned were done on his watch. So those were good things, but that's kind of where we're at right now. We're as efficient as we possibly can be, given, in my opinion, given where we're at and the funding we have. Now, could we make this building more efficient? Yes, but it would take funding, as Jason mentioned, like the fluorescent tubes. Those could be replaced, but it's a significant investment. If you walk around next time, look up and see how many fluorescent light fixtures there are in this building. I'm sure it's in the 1,000 range or more. It's a lot. So, an LED is awesome technology, but it's not cheap. And then the other big investment that Jason touched on that we would like to definitely explore in the next couple of years would be the LED and our stadium lights. All of our stadium lights for Celebration Park, Sahali, Steel Lake, Lakota, and Sacagawea, those being transferred over to LED would be great. we get tremendous energy savings there, and it's less desirable. And Jason and I talked about this yesterday as he was preparing his report. One of the nice things about LED lighting is it runs off aluminum wire, which is less desirable for thieves, far less desirable. But if you were to actually switch it out, it's a huge upfront cost. So you don't necessarily just switch it out immediately. If something got stolen, then we would replace with aluminum, but you don't want to add that expense on the front end if you can help it. So I hope that helps kind of clear up where we're at and summarize. Hey, Jason, thank you. You put out a very detailed report about what we've done. I just wanted to touch on some of the big buildings and kind of to Councilmember Moore's question of where we're at and how we're doing. I'm very proud of the efforts made. We've saved thousands of dollars, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars over this time in energy efficiency. And we continue to be as conscious as we can and not be wasteful ever, and try to install that as a culture across the board. And it's very important to us. We're parks people first, facilities people second. And so we care about the environment just kind of by nature and want to do as good a job as we can. So I hope that helps.
Yeah,
Thank
John,
you
really quick. Oh, I'm so sorry, Council.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Linda. So, would it be possible to kind of get a summary, a written summary of what Jason kind of mentioned and shared? John?
Yeah, if it doesn't need to be in an excellent format, we can, Jason can kind of put his notes in order that he gave you his report with tonight, probably, and at least be able to see you'd have it in writing what he just read to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of good knowledge to have at the fingertips. Thank you.
All right.
You're
welcome.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And John, when we speak the next day or two, maybe we can talk about some of these issues. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Council Member, Deputy President, anybody else have any other questions? Any suggestions? Seeing none. We're at the end of our meeting. I did see where Sarah Bretchford was saying that we are going to be opening up the community center for warming facility if the temperatures go down to a certain point, which it may be by the end of the week. So I'm sure that there's going to be an announcement, correct, Deputy President? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Council President. Who are you? Go ahead. Go ahead, Susan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
So my thing. I don't know what you said because I was having an issue hearing. What did you say?
I can answer it if you'd like. Go ahead, Sue.
Go ahead.
So yes, it looks like there will be a foul weather or inclement weather shelter taking place if we hit the mark, which it looks like we will based on the forecast. That we would be opening that up likely Thursday and Friday for sure. It could be extended into Saturday, and right now it's a little early to tell, and Catholic Community Services doesn't like to announce a 3-day because the weather changes so quickly here. It could be, but if they open for one night, it'll always be 2. So it'll likely be, if it happens, it'll be Thursday and Friday at the community center.
So John,
those preparations have been made.
How are we going to let folks know? I ask this every year.
Yeah, and essentially, the mirror is not helpful. They're not reading that.
Right.
All the police officers have the outreach material. All of the homeless advocates in the area, from the day center to MSC to everybody else, has the information, and they will pass it out because they're dealing directly with the community, and they'll let them know exactly what time, where, when, how, when to be there. All of that will be taken care of through those advocate groups that are in daily, sometimes hourly contact with the group.
Could we put up a notice, like maybe at some of the stores that those who are experiencing homeless hang around, maybe the Safeway, or I don't think we've ever done that before.
That would probably be best. I don't want to speak for Sarah. That's Sarah's territory. I don't.
Yeah. I just want to make sure people know it's available.
They'll know. They'll absolutely know. They're in that community, and that those people are reaching out to them on a daily basis.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, Council? Well, seeing none, then our next meeting will be held on March the 9th, 2021 at 5 p.m. It was very good to see all of you. Thank you for being so prepared for the questions from council. And anything else for the good of the order?
Just feel better. Get better soon, Linda.
I'm staying home when it snows, not going anywhere, but I hope our plows are ready. Okay. All right.
I've seen them out.
Okay. All of you take care of yourselves now, okay?
Thank you. I'll call you
Thank you.
tomorrow, Linda.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. The meeting is
Bye.
adjourned at 5. Goodbye. Adjourned at 5:34 p.m. See you soon.
Good night,
Take care.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, Lydia.
Okay.
Bye-bye.